Let's face it, many people don't have much time to do good preparation for IELTS. Work, studies and life just gives you too many things to do. Suddenly your IELTS test arrives and you just haven't had enough time to do plenty of preparation. It happens to most of us. It's kind of a normal situation, really. The thing is, 1 or 2 nights before the IELTS test, it's likely that if you haven't done any preparation, you're going to feel the panic and anxiety. Not to mention, perhaps you might be feeling really angry with yourself because you did not give enough time to IELTS preparation. Well, never fear. Even if you have just 1 or 2 days available before your actual IELTS test, there are some effective preparation strategies that you can use. There is still a chance to prepare effectively, and watch this video. You'll get 5 effective strategies that will help you even in last-minute preparation for IELTS.
Hey there, IELTS warriors!
Hi there, if you're new to IELTS Breakthrough, my name's David Bourne and I am your IELTS coach. IELTS Breakthrough is a YouTube channel that gives you the tips and strategies you need to get a high score in IELTS so that you can study at an international university or progress in your career. IELTS Breakthrough has really helpful coaching videos on the academic, general training and even life skills versions of IELTS. All you need to do is subscribe to make sure that you get access and don't miss any of these really useful videos. So, are you just a couple of days or even maybe 24 hours or less before your real IELTS test? Are you feeling a bit overwhelmed, maybe unprepared, and you're just not sure how to make use of the time that you do have left? Well, don't panic. We're going to look at 5 useful strategies that you can use if you are in this situation. So let's get started right now. Strategy number 1 is to master the instructions. Basically, it's actually quite easy to lose marks by not following the instructions. One of the simple things you can do is look at a listening test, a reading test, a writing test and a speaking test to understand the instructions. And remember, you can download these from IELTS.org. I do have a video on that. So, look at some example tests, read through the instructions and make sure that you know exactly what they are asking you to do. Here's an example. In the reading and the listening, you'll see the instruction, write at least 2 or 3 words and or a number. This is a common instruction. If you go outside of those instructions, then your score will be void for that question. Another one is the word count in the writing section. You might know that task 1 has a word count of 150 and task 2 it is 250. Now in the instructions they say write at least 150. Write at least 250. So you need to see that number of words as the minimum. And a quick hot tip here, if you want to get a high score, that number is the minimum. I would add about 100 words to that if you're going to get a good score in Band 7 or Band 8 territory. Strategy number 2 is to simulate test conditions. So this means doing a practice test under test conditions as if you were going to do it on the day coming up soon. And once again, remember you can do this for free. IELTS.org provide you with sample tests that you can use for this purpose. You don't have to do a full listening and reading test. You can practice with just one listening section and one reading text if you are short of time. Make sure that you do this with no distractions. Pretend that you are in the test room and the only thing happening is doing your IELTS test. So put your phone and your computer out of the way, get your phone on silent mode or do not disturb as well. 1 hour of practice testing can reduce your nerves because you're putting yourself through the experience and you get to realize that it's not as bad as maybe you feared. Now, strategy number 3 is to review your structures. And this applies to the writing and speaking sections. Now, the structure of your answer can have a really big impact on your score. For example, in writing, if you write your task 1 and your task 2 answer with a nice clear structure using paragraphs, then it's really going to help your score. So for example, task 1, you have your overview and then the details divided into paragraphs by category. If you're writing the essay, task 2, then you can use the 4-paragraph essay format that we promote at IELTS Breakthrough. So the idea is to review these structures so that you know how they work. And as well, in speaking, it's useful to have a clear structure. In part 2, we talk about using the WH words and using signalling phrases to introduce each WH word. And also, firstly, secondly, thirdly, or finally, the rule of 3. As an extra bonus related to this strategy, it's also a good idea if you review some useful phrases that you might need, especially for the speaking. In the speaking test, it's very likely that you're going to need to express your opinion. So phrases that introduce your opinion, it's useful to review those. I'm talking about saying things like, I completely agree. I'm not sure about that. That could be a good idea if. Okay, strategy number 4 is to do a dry run of the part 2 speaking test. And the part 2 is where you have to speak for 2 minutes on a topic. Remember that this part is the part of the speaking test where you really get to show your ability to speak in English. Therefore, a good performance in part 2 is really going to help your score. That's why practicing it will have the most positive impact on your speaking result. When you do this, make sure that you time yourself. Give yourself 1 minute to prepare and time yourself 2 minutes to talk, no more, no less. I would also recommend that you video yourself and record the audio as well, so that you can play it back and listen and consider what you can improve. There are plenty of part 2 topics that you can practice. Here are 3 if you don't know what topics to choose. Talk about a cafe that you have visited. Talk about an interesting city that you know about. Talk about someone you know who has interesting ideas. Now we're into the last strategy, strategy number 5, that is get a good night's sleep. At the end of the day, if it gets to like 10 or 11 p.m, then the best thing you can do is just go to sleep and be ready for the day with your mind fresh and strong. There's no point studying all night because by the morning you'll just be fried. Take an hour before you want to sleep and just use that hour to calm down. Don't think about IELTS, just believe in yourself. Know that you already have English power that will take you through the day, and just do something nice that will help you to kind of forget about the test that is going to happen tomorrow. So there you have it, 5 last-minute strategies that will help you prepare for the IELTS test, even if you have just a very short time available. Let me know in the comments, which of these strategies would you like to try? And I'll just review the strategies quickly for you. Number 1, master the instructions. Number 2, simulate test conditions. Number 3, review your structures for speaking and writing. Strategy number 4 is to do a practice of the part 2 of speaking. And strategy number 5, get a good night's sleep. In this video, I've mentioned a couple of times where you can get free IELTS test materials to use these strategies. So if you want to watch another video, I would suggest that you watch this one where I show you exactly how you can download all of the sample tests from IELTS.org. They are free and they don't even require any kind of email subscription or anything like that. So take a look at that video next, and in the meantime, have a fantastic day, week, evening, afternoon, and if you're doing your IELTS test tomorrow, the best of luck.